We have another question, and this is from, so one of our fans as well, asking, who's your bias? Even though, like, you know, from watching your K-pop Music Mondays, you like specific groups. Who do you think, especially if you've met them, like, who do you feel like comfortable with? Like, just any other fan? Who's your bias?
Let's see.
Well, like from the people that we've met, like we're comfortable with UKISS like the most. So
I don't want to talk about just who we met because I have a bias that I did not meet. Well, I met. I did meet, but I didn't. Okay, I met. All right, I'm just gonna say it. I like GD. Okay, I know I like T.O.P. because I think his voice is so fantastic and his whole swagger, but I really, really respect GD because I feel like he is legitimately who he is. He's not putting on costumes and clothing as like I'm putting this on for the video.
Like, here's
and then
my designer making me do this. Okay, what's the dance moves I gotta do?
I really feel like
it feels like he has his hand in a lot of what he's doing. You know.
So he like I follow him on Instagram as well, and he really is like into fashion and like crazy makeup, and I really feel like he's an artist. Rather than just an entertainer, and so I feel like I really respect GD. He's putting out so many albums, you know, it's crazy.
Right. And with the last two videos that he's done as well, and how different they are from everything else. So like, what were your impressions of those two videos? Because a lot of people had mixed.
I didn't get a chance to see the second one because that was right when we were like traveling. And we were too busy like packing, like getting our pet
I saw the
sitters
tweets coming up for it, and I didn't even get the single chance to look at it as well.
All I remember is that somebody sent us a screen cap of the top YouTube comment, being like, and this week's Music Monday is a "Where the hell are my pants" edition.
GD's always losing his pants, but I just think that he's growing as an artist who was only interested in hip hop originally, and now he's becoming more and more expressive of like what his opinions are of the K-pop scene and what's happening around him, and he sneaks in a lot of like jabs and hidden comments that you can see what's happening, his expression of the Korean media and how they portray him and portray other people.
So I think even though like I didn't necessarily like GD's songs that came out this year, I still have a lot of respect for what he does and how productive he is.
That's true. I think with the last video as well, since like for K-pop artists to like the whole theme of that music video, like sort of revolution and stuff like that, people were commenting saying we want to go out there and just like, you know, just do a revolution as well from just watching the video. So he's, you know, included something else that you don't usually find in the K-pop scene, and how hard is that to do, and how hard is it to have your own say in your music video? So
impossible. I mean, because we've had a chance to talk to K-pop artists off camera, you know, without the managers lurking around the corner, and majority of them will say things like, you know, they maybe don't like this or they don't like that, or I don't want to say anything specific so that no one can pinpoint, but you know, they didn't like that song that they had to do.
Or didn't like the outfit that they had to wear, you know, like they're but
there are opinions of like, you know, that wasn't my favorite song either, or like if we review a song that we didn't like and people are upset at us, we've talked to artists that are like, I don't like that song.
I had to sing that song more than once.
So I wish that people could look at K-pop idols in two ways. One as these awesome entertainers and artists that are incredible, that put on these well-organized, amazing shows, but also as people who have their own opinions. You know?
So like a lot of people focus on K-pop artists from the idol's perspective, and they have a motherly love, kind of like when your kid paints something and you put it on the fridge and you're like, this is a piece of garbage, but I still love you for it. You know, and like I want K-pop music to be spoken of as music, to be able to be reviewed. Be like, this song isn't necessarily great. Well, this was, you know, one of their weaker points, but like some fans can't get that disconnect, you know, and can't give K-pop music a respect as a genre of music. Instead, they only view it through like idolatry and worship and love.
That's right. It's really hard for fans to like coming from a fan's perspective as well. That idolizing feeling is there, and there's no way to break it. And actually, the only way you can is by seeing them and seeing how they're in front of you and they're human as well. And I think only then does that, you know, whole idol sort of shatter, and then you're like, oh, well, they're just people. And
that's exactly it.
It doesn't mean we respect them any less. Like, you know, I mean, GD, I did meet him, and I could see, you know, his makeup, I could see what he looked like up close, everything. But still, I understand that he has to have a production value as well and a flair. But then I also can see the other side of him as well, and appreciate, you know, what he's actually trying to do, put effort into something in a certain, like he can put effort in as like an entertainer, but also still be human and have mistakes and
be himself on camera. And
yeah.
And that's one of the things that we also want to mention recently. Like, I think one of the things we've been talking about GD for a really freaking long time. The last thing we're going to say about him is that when you see him in his videos, it doesn't seem like he's acting a role. Like, there are specific, like, archetypes that happen in music videos. Like, for example, like, we talk about, like, the lip rubbing. And different roles and cliches that, like, different K-pop artists do for these videos. But GD, whenever he's in his videos, it really seems like he's, like, definitely into it. And, like, he's like, this is my role, this is what I'm doing, and I'm having fun with it. I'm portraying myself as I want to portray myself.
Like, we were just talking about Michigo, and when he's in that video, and he's lying on the lap of the people, and he's getting spanked by his parents, and he goes, feels good. And he's like, kind of like fluttering his eyes. You really feel like he's...
I imagine if
like
another
kind of
idol from like another group was given that role, they're like, you want me to smile while I'm being spanked? What am I supposed to do here? You know, so like,
That's right. That's it. Would you say he's your bias as well? Or would you just...
I think GD is one of the people that I respect the most in terms of biases. I still have like crazy respect for Junsu.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say. In my head, I'm like,
of course. Mostly, like, I really like what JY do.
JYD? Who is this JYD? It's the subunit of JYJ.
Please forgive me. I'm lacking caffeine. I really respect what JYJ did in terms of like bucking the system and trying to have their own individuality.
For the record, he said bucking the system.
Yes.
That was not a swear word.
So it's definitely...
It's hard to struggle against like a huge corporation, especially one that runs like so much stuff. So yeah, we have massive respect for them.
That's great. You said something about Yukis as well. Like, we know a lot of fans know, like, they say, oh, you know, Yukis and Yuki, they're like homies, they're like, you know, close together. How, like, is that really what, like, you've seen them a couple of times. How do you feel when you see them, like, when you see them get...
I don't, when we meet them, like, when the last time they came to the studio, we had the door open for them. Eli comes up the stairs and he's like, why are you on the 4th floor? Like, it wasn't like the, 안녕하세요, 반갑습니다, you know, man or hands. Like, he just came up and he's like, oh my god, I'm so sweaty, like, gave us a hug. So it really feels very comfortable with them now. It's just kind of like friends coming over, and you know, we message each other on Kakao and try to meet up if we have free time, but they're crazy schedules and stuff.
And we have crazy schedules as well.
Yeah, so. But you know, like, it's just, they still, you see what they're like behind camera, and they're really similar on camera, by the way. It's not like they
acting in front of the camera,
right? Right. They're very much like outgoing personalities and like joking, and Kevin is like totally the same, and you know, it's really nice to see that kind of refreshing.
I think it's your videos that have shown like some artists that you were able to interview. They show that side to the fans, and like a lot of people respect you for that. Not just bringing, you know, just the normal K-pop and like do your reviews. It's like you've let us see these artists as they are now, and they really respect you for it. I know I do as well, because
that's awesome.
I know so much about Yuki now just because of those videos. Like, you know, oh well, the personalities are nice, and you know, the songs as well. So it's
and that's one of the things that we keep on telling the management whenever we speak with them, and like the traditional stiff, you know, Korean interview format of like Korean interviews done in Korean by Korean people in Korean format with Korean greetings
with
and
the
Korean memorized
exact
answers.
same questions about like
that doesn't
albums
really
and nothing interesting.
That doesn't really connect with an international audience altogether, I don't think.
Yeah.
So like showing them a different perspective, even doing something like silly with them, you know, like that winds up making
be.
you know, like
so we've actually turned down interviews. We didn't want to tell our audiences, but we've turned down interviews when the management team won't agree to anything,
and they just want you to follow us.
Like,
so then we say we're not doing it, because we're not an interview site. Like, we're not MTV
we're not
or
a
something.
K-pop site either. We're just we're just like K-pop is one segment that we do out of the 6 segments that we do.
And
if
I interview a group, I want to interview them and show them as like a different side. I don't need them to like kick back and like take off a shirt and drink a beer. Like, I just want them to have a little bit of their personality shine through, so that our audience can say, hey, wow, this group is awesome.
That's exactly what you guys have been doing. I say that you've been successful with that so far, so keep doing what you're doing.
Try to get
more.
We're slowly chipping away at the management team.
Thank you for coming down to us. We really hope you enjoy Melbourne, and you probably get a chance to see other cities later as well. We want to give you a small gift from our management as well, and yes, it's more teddy bears and koalas. You can never have enough koalas. Thank you. Can't thank you enough for coming down and like taking some time off, and you know, just giving us your interview. Thank you so much for coming down here, and hopefully you enjoy this, and hopefully you go on more tours and see more countries and more NASAs as well.
I have to tell you guys something funny about the koalas. Smudgy has a toy. It's a koala. It's his only toy that he loves deeply, and our friend bought it from Australia for us, who came to like visit us in Korea, and she brought this little koala that was just from like a local souvenir shop. He fell in love with this koala. It is so dirty and disgusting. It's like 4 years of filth. Its leg ripped off. I had to sew it. Its eyeballs are gone. I think he ate them and then pooped them out. So it's like an eyeless, armless koala, and he loves it. He loves it. So now we have a collection of little.
Wow.
So I'm gonna start bringing them back and see if I can swap them.
Like, what we're gonna do is that because whenever he gets excited for it, like we say like chomp chomp chomp, like here's a chomp chomp, and then like he'll like run after his koalas. So we're gonna bring all of our koalas home, and we're gonna hide that koala in a pile of all the other koalas. We're gonna see if he can find the right one.